it's Becky, and today I wanted to make a focal using some components from the Sam's Bead box for February, available at Sam's Bead Shop. This was my first month getting Sam's Bead box, and I was really excited about it. It has some really cool things in it, and you know, I've already made a couple of things. I didn't do any videos about them because it's just, you know, elephant earrings and things like that. But one of the things that I wanted to do with this box, one of the things that I was most excited about was making something with this. It's a crystal component from a chandelier. And so it's just a prism, and it's gorgeous and perfect. Like, there are no flaws on this at all. And so today I'm going to take some of the beads from the box and some craft wire, and I'm going to make a focal for a necklace. Now, the parts from the box that I'm using is this hematite donut. It has a top drilled hole, so you could put a bail on that, but I'm not going to be bothering with that since I'm going to be using craft wire. I'm just going to wire wrap it into its shape and where these things are going to go. Additionally, there were these hematite beads that came in the box too. There are these faceted hematite beads, and then these 12mm hematite beads. And so I'm going to be using those. I added these smaller 8mm hematite beads and some 10mm hematite beads from my own bead stash in order to kind of extend this out and have a little bit more to play with. In addition to the hematite beads, we are also going to be using these firepolish 8mm crystal beads that came in Sam's Bead box. They have silver on one side, and so they are very sparkly and very shiny, and they kind of bring out that sparkle and that shine from the crystal, from the this crystal component. So I laid all this out because that's kind of how I'm planning on doing it. I already put together some beaded chain using these hematite beads and the crystals. I did not finish the beaded chain because I want to connect it directly to the component that I make here. But I also wanted to wait to do the last link in the chain so that I can show you how I make the beaded chain, in case you were interested in that. But that'll be near the end, so I'm going to set those aside for now. As far as tools that I'm using, I am going to be using some flush cutters, some chain nose pliers, some like those, and 6-step bail making pliers. I may or may not use these. I know I'm going to be forming things into a circle at some point, but whether the diameter of it is going to be matching one of these or not is another that's another issue. But if you don't have these 6-step bail making pliers, you can use a lot of other like round things that you might have, like a paintbrush handle or a Sharpie or another Sharpie, or I might end up using this chapstick tube to form a circle, because I'm going to make a little loop here in the corner, and that's what this chain is going to attach to on this. So I'm probably going to end up using this chapstick tube. It's not actually chapstick, it's chap lip. It is generic chapstick, and it works just as well. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to be doing. For the wire wrapping, I am using 18 gauge or 1mm wire. I have cut off 27 inches of this. I was just estimating how much that is. But, you know, I figure it's going to be enough for me to work with. 27 inches is about 69 centimeters. So let me move that back so I can focus better. There you go. So that's how much wire I'm using. I did, for my links, I used a different gauge wire for these. They're wire wrapped because it will be kind of heavy. But I used 20 gauge wire for this. And that is 0.8mm. wire. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so you're gonna want to find the middle of your wire. So I'm just gonna hold the end here and kind of travel down to the bottom of my wire here. And I want to make a bit of a loop down here at the bottom, so I'm just gonna move these over, and it's okay if they cross right now. We can straighten them out later if we want to, or not. But I just want a bit of a teardrop shape here at the bottom of my wires. And then I'm going to take this teardrop and stick it through my hematite donut right there at the top. And then I'm going to pinch this right here and grab these two wires, pull them towards me, and then bend them back and stick them up through the top. Come on, I want you to go together. Go with your friend. Don't you want to be with your friend? But, oof, I'm gonna push this down here to the top and pull this while I'm pinching it. And this is where we can uncrisscross them inside of here. But I'm still trying to keep this pinched here. And if you want to, you can grab these and try to hold it. It's not going to work that well though. So I'm just going to move these closer to here. Oh, come on. There they are, they're crossed over again. So this one goes over here. Actually, if I make this one littler on that side, then that means I can pull this one on this side. I'm just doing gentle pulling. Well, fairly forceful, but I'm doing it in a gentle way to try and get these through here for this wire wrap. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to these, and I'm going to take this sticky outy bit. I'm just going to fold it over the top of my hematite donut. There we go. Like that. So it makes a nice little half circle on that end. And then these can come up the sides on either side. And that is the first part of this component. It's a really simple wrap, but you know, it takes a little bit of effort to do. Like, I'm sure there are fancier bails that you can do, fancier ways. Maybe there's even better ways of doing this, but this is just what I kind of figured out. I'm kind of figuring this out as I go. So I'm going to take the beads that I chose for this. I'm going to string them on one side, not the other. I'm going to leave that one just the way it is while I work on just one side. And I'm going to string these on in this order and push them down next to my donut. If there's any kinks, it might make it a little harder to string these on, so you can just kind of straighten those out as you go. Oof. all the way down. And I'm going to string all of these except for this 8mm hematite. It's going to stay there because I am not going to use that yet. All right. When I have the first part of this strung in the pattern that I want, I'm going to make a bend. I'm going to leave like a centimeter or two right here between where I bend this so that I have room to wrap with my wire after I make my big circle. So I'm going to bend this with a sharp right angle bend that way. And I'm thinking that I will go ahead and string the other side now too, so that I'm doing all of these at the same time and not having to go back and say, oh, hey, what was it that I did again? So I'm going to go ahead and string these on. This is really fun. I like being able to do different things with my beads. All right, so I've got this one and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to leave like a little bit of space between that bead and the bend on this side. And I'm going to bend it away from the component. All right. So this is where we are right now with making this. What I want to do is form a circle, and that is going to be my main connector piece between this component and my necklace. So I think I mentioned that I wanted it to be about the size of this tube. So I'm going to bend the wire around it and try not to hit my camera. All right, come here, friend. This is awkward. So very awkward. All right, and I want to bend it all the way around and a little bit past there so that it's right there where my little bend was. And then I'm gonna wrap this. I'm gonna do, probably I can fit 3 wraps, maybe 4. Let's find out. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna keep this in here so that it doesn't tighten up as I'm wrapping it, because I want it to stay this size. 1, 2, and then the last one. Okay, and I am not going to cut this off because I am going to use this to connect to the, oof, there we go, to connect to the, to this. All right, so I'm going to leave this here. Have myself a nice little loop here on the end. You can make it smaller. I like this diameter because it's about the same diameter as the hole here. And it just is some symmetry. It makes it look nice to me. All right, I'm gonna try this again with this one. Without doing the thing. Trying not to get this cut on itself. All right, and here we are again. Now I need to wrap this while keeping it on the tube. 1, 2. Oh boy, and 3. Huh. What do you know? Okay. All right, so now I think that was probably one of the trickiest parts. The next part is going to be to attach my prism, my crystal prism there, onto there. So I'm going to stick this small 8mm bead here as a bit of a spacer, because if this is right up next to here, it's kind of going to be in the way with these beads. But if this is there in the way, then it gives it some room for this to not be smack dab right bumped up against it. All right, so now I might actually make this a little bit shorter in order to give myself less headache with wrapping. I'm going to want a loop to go through here. So for that, I'm going to make my little bend. Make sure I've got some room for wrapping on that other side. And I'm going to take my 6-step veil making pliers and I'm going to make a loop. Let's see which one of these is going to be ideal. Probably this one. This one's going to give me enough room for the loop to go all the way around it without harming the prism or the glass. So I'm going to wrap all the way around there. Oof, and maybe I did myself a disservice by cutting off so much of that, because I'm going to need to use these to hold on to it when I wrap it. Okay, this is the front, so I'm going to want the back first. Let's open this loop so that it can slide on nicely. Okay, there we go. All right, so now close this. You know, I could probably have done a simple loop for this bit and been okay, but I'll just be a little more secure this way. All right, let's get this guy around here, because I don't know if my fingers can take wrapping this by itself. And I have never used the bent nose pliers, but I see lots of people using them, and it looks like it would make something like this a lot easier. So maybe I should get some for this part of the wire wrapping. Nope, nope, nope. You're gonna stay put. I'm gonna wrap this around. Looks like I can do maybe twice. Stay. Trying to be real gentle with this crystal. Oh, this might have been the perfect length. Tuck that in. But I'm kind of just smoosh this end down. Oh boy, now I need to do the same thing on the other side. And that's going to be a little more complicated, I think. All right, let's figure this out. First the bead. Then we bend the wire. Then we make our loop. And maybe I don't loop it all the way around for this. Maybe I keep it straight so I can make it go through there. And then I can pull this around to this side. Oof, start wrapping. I'm going. At this point, I just want it done. Let's go. Careful, careful. I think this definitely would be easier with those bent nose pliers. But this will be okay. I'm making it work. Okay. Oh, wow. So I've got my really nice little loop on this side, my very messy loop over here. And that's okay. Just gonna smoosh that a little bit to make it look a little less messy. And turn that direction. Smoosh, smoosh, smoosh. Hopefully nobody's going to look too closely at that, because they're just going to be looking at my very pretty prism in the middle of my focal. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And that is there. See, it worked. Whew, I'm so pleased. All right, so for my links for my chain, like I said, I like to make beaded chain by just sitting there with like a spool of beading wire and some beads and making them like all at the same time while I'm watching some TV or something like that. Basically, I work off the spool when I do it. So I'll take the end, I'll stick the bead on, slide that down, then I will make my loop on one end. I bend it back towards me first, and then we bring it all the way around the bail making plier, and then wrap it 2 or 3 times. 2, 3. I've got my wire wrapped loop there. And I can cut the excess. Tuck my end. I've got the bead on already for this. So I just bend it over. I mean, you could do this without the bead in place, but then I wouldn't know where to cut it off for this. You could also just like cut a length and do it that way, but I sometimes just like hanging out with my spool of wire and doing it this way. Okay, so then for this one, I will bring the wire around the top, shift my pliers out of the way a little bit to bring it up and under, and then start wrapping this. No, that's not how you do it. I know somebody's yelling at me. Okay, so you make the loop first, and then you attach it to what you're going to attach your thing to. Like, you leave one end unclosed. Like, I've got my unclosed end here. I'm gonna put that through the closed end of my link. But yeah, you wait. And did I ruin it? I don't think so, because I can just bring that back to where it was before. Go back to wrapping. It would have been worse if it had, I mean, it's not the most tidy wrap you've ever seen, but I don't think anybody's gonna be looking that close. You know, I do this for me. I don't sell my jewelry, so I'm okay with a little bit of wonkiness. If I was gonna give it to someone, I would start over with this in order for it to, you know, not look so bad, or if I was going to be selling it. But again, it's just for me, so it's fine. Come on. Why are you being like this? Oof. I guess this is the awkward part. Hold on. I'm going to hold this with these because it's moving while I'm trying to wrap it. There we go. Got some excess. Let's cut that off. Oh, come on. All right. And then to attach the other wire, I've got my closed end, and I just slide my open end through that. So after I get my chain attached, the only thing that I have to do after that is attach a closure, and I have a completed necklace. Let me just get this finished here.
So you know how.
Okay. So yeah, maybe I will get some of those bent nose pliers, because they would sure come in handy right about here, with how awkward this is for me. All right, so that's one end of my chain attached. I'll attach the other end, and then attach a closure, and then it will be done. And that is my focal and my necklace from Sam's Bead Box. Okay, so when I was going to attach my closure, I realized that I had made my chain too long for my comfort. I wanted this focal to be close to my face, so I shortened my chain so it'll hang right below my neck in that area. And then I used the extra links that I had cut off of there to make myself a little bracelet to go with it. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this little focal. I really liked making it. It was a fun challenge to figure out how to use something that's not a typical part of most jewelry making in order to make something. And I really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that I subscribed to the Sam's Bead Box because it has a lot of really cool and interesting beads in it that I'm having a lot of fun creating with. Anyway, hope you guys have a good weekend. Bye!